Hello children, welcome to mathematics class again. In our previous class, in fact we are dealing with 9th class mathematics. In our previous class we have started with chapter 4 lines and angles. In continuation to that, we are going to deal with the next topic, that is pairs of angles, today in this class. Okay. Pairs of angles. So whenever we use the word pair, we remember two things, a couple of things, right? One and the other. So likewise we have some pairs in angles also. So angles are made into pairs and given some names based on measure as well as based on position. So let's see one by one in a detail, right? First one in first pair is whenever we add two angles, if they give 90 degrees, you're going to add two angles, and if their sum is 90 degrees, such pair is known as complementary angles. So that means if you have 30 degrees and 60 degrees, this is a pair of complementary angles. So 30 degrees is the complement angle of 60 degrees and 60 degrees is the complement of 30 degrees. So both are complement to each other. So the basic definition is, whenever we add two angles, if their sum is 90 degrees, we call them complementary angles. This is the first pair. I think you knew it well in your previous class. Complementary angles, right? This is first one. So if I ask you one more question, you can easily answer. What is the complementary angle for 50 degrees? What is the complementary angle for 50 degrees? Of course, you have to subtract it from 90 to get the other one. So 90 minus 50, that means 40 degrees. So the complementary angle for 50 degrees is 40 degrees. Vice versa, you can state like this also. The complementary angle of 40 degrees is 50 degrees. So how can you get the other one? By subtracting it from the 90 degrees. Suppose if I ask you, what is the complementary angle of x degrees? Some angle. We don't know what is the measure, but what is the complementary angle for x degrees? The complementary angle for x degrees is 90 minus x, right? So you have to subtract it from 90. So x degrees or x and 90 minus x are in fact is a pair of complementary angles. So this is what first pair. What is the first pair? Complementary angles. What do you mean by complementary angles? When you add two angles, if they give you 90 degrees, such pair is known as complementary angles, right? Okay. Now second pair. Yes, if sum of two angles is two right angles. What I mean is, if sum of angles is 180 degrees, then such pair is known as pair of supplementary angles. So second pair we are going to discuss. Suppose one angle is 60 degrees and the other angle is 120 degrees. So if we add these two, we'll get 180 degrees. So that's why 60 degrees and 120 degrees is a pair of supplementary angles. This is the second one. What is the first one? What is the first one? Complementary angles. If the sum of the two angles is a right angle or 90 degrees, then such pair is known as complementary angles. And if sum of two angles is 180 degrees, such pair is known as supplementary angles. Now 120 degrees is the supplement of 60 degrees, or 60 degrees is the supplement of 120 degrees. So if anyone asks you what is the supplement angle of 50 degrees, how can you get? So you have to subtract it from 180 minus 50, that means 130 degrees. So the supplementary angle of 50 degrees is 130 degrees. Or you can ask in reverse manner also. What is the supplementary angle for 130? That is 50 degrees. So both are supplement to each other. So whenever we add two angles, if they give you 180 degrees, such pair is known as supplementary angles. This is the second pair. So if again, let me ask you once again, if one angle is x degrees, what is its supplement? 180 minus x, right? So likewise you can You can remember this. If one angle is x degrees, then you need to subtract it from 180 to get its supplement, right? Okay. Let us see third pair now. Suppose if sum of two angles, since we are talking about pairs, we are taking two angles, mind you, right? So if sum of two angles is 360 degrees, so then such pair is known as conjugate angles, right? This is third one. What is this? Conjugate angles. This is a bit new one for you in this class. You know about you know a little bit about complementary angles, supplementary angles, and this is the new term that you're going to get, conjugate angles. What do you mean by conjugate angles? A pair of angles whose sum is 360 degrees. That's why what is the conjugate angle for 120 degrees? Of course it is 240 degrees, because both give you 360 degrees together, right? So 120 and 240 is a pair of conjugate angles. So as usual, if one angle is some x degrees, then its conjugate is 360 minus x. So likewise, we have three pairs introduced. One is complementary angles. To avoid confusion, complementary angles means COMP complementary angles, SUP supplementary angles. Since we start alphabet with C, you can remember this sum as 90 degrees, and since S comes after C, that's why you can remember as 180 degrees. So to avoid confusion, because sometimes we confuse about what is complementary and what is supplementary. So complementary C comes first, that's why 90 comes first. S comes later, that's why 180 comes later. Okay, right. Likewise, you can remember all the angles. Anyway, conjugate angles is new one. If sum of two angles is 360 degrees, that such pair is known as conjugate angles. Right, now let us see one more pair of angles. This time not because of the measure, but here because of the position we are going to find one more pair. See here, three rays OA, OB and OC are originated from same point O. If you observe these angles 1 and 2, they have a common arm. That means OB. OB is common arm to both this particular angle BOA and angle BOC. For this angle, OB is an arm. As we know, these are the arms of an angle. So likewise, so this is OB is an arm for angle 1 as well as for angle 2. So OB is common arm, and also O is a common vertex for both angles. For this angle, this is the common vertex, vertex, and for this angle also O is the same vertex. So here what I found is a common arm for two angles as well as a common vertex, and these two are called non-common arms. Non-common arms, that means different arms lying on either side of this common arm. So this arm is this side and this arm is this side. OA is this side, OC is this side. So here so many things I discussed. Here we have a common arm, common vertex, and non-common arms lying on either side. These all qualities give us or tell us that these two angles are adjacent angles. This is the name that I want to introduce you. Adjacent angles, that means side by side angles in our language. Adjacent angles. So this is a different pair. What do you mean by adjacent angles? Two angles are said to be adjacent, that means they stay side by side if they have common arm, if they have common vertex, and at the same time non-common arms lie on either side of the common arm, right? Such pair is known as adjacent angles. So okay, if I show you some different example, you may understand well. Of course. So suppose here is angle, here is angle. They cannot be adjacent because they do not have any common arm, and they do not have any common common vertex. Likewise, so many disqualifications are there. These two cannot be adjacent angles. And in fact, we can bring many examples. You can bring many examples. Suppose this angle cannot be adjacent angles because they do not share any common arm. So you need to look for some features to declare those angles are adjacent angles. I'll give you examples in the later stages. Okay, right. So what is the pair that we introduced now? Adjacent angles. Okay, right. Let me introduce you one more pair. See here, suppose two angles are adjacent. What we have learnt in the previous slide, two adjacent angles, and if their sum is 180 degrees, then such pair is known as a linear pair. What is this? Linear pair. One more pair I introduced to you, linear pair. What is a linear pair? Suppose sum of, anyway, we have if sum of two angles is 180 degrees, we have supplementary angles. That pair is known as supplementary angles. But here, sum of the two angles must be 180, but at the same time they must be adjacent. That means what qualities they should have, we have discussed previously. So two adjacent angles, if their sum is 180 degrees, such pair is known as linear pair. Okay, this pair is also very important. Linear pair. Yes, just now we have seen about linear pair. Sum of two adjacent angles is 180 degrees, then such pair is known as linear pair. Now here see, let me introduce you a property here, linear pair angles axiom. Axiom, okay, axiom means a statement, don't worry, a statement which requires no proof, right? So here linear pair angles axiom, we are going to see that. So what is linear pair angles axiom? Suppose a ray falls on a straight line, suppose this is a straight line, and a ray falls on it like this. Suppose if a ray falls on a straight line, then sum of its adjacent angles, here is one angle and here is another angle, no doubt these two are adjacent angles, then sum of two adjacent angles will be 180 degrees. This is linear pair angles axiom. Let me state once again, if a ray falls on a straight line, then sum of the adjacent angles so formed is equal to 180 degrees. Let me state in reverse manner, that is called converse. Converse means suppose if sum of adjacent angles is 180 degrees, carefully look here, sum of adjacent angles is 180 degrees, then the non-common arms that forming adjacent angles will give you a straight line. So if any pair, any adjacent pair is giving with a sum 180 degrees, adjacent means they should have a common arm, and either side they should have a non-common arms. Those non-common arms should give you a straight line because sum of the angles will be 180 degrees. That's what this is a straight property. This is converse statement. This is straight statement. What is straight statement? Suppose if a ray falls on a straight line, then sum of adjacent angles is 180 degrees, and its converse. Suppose sum of adjacent angles is 180 degrees, then the non-common arms form a straight line. That's what the converse of the this particular linear pair angles axiom. Okay, so right children, until now we have seen some pairs: complementary angles, supplementary angles, conjugate angles, linear pair. All these are based on measure, whereas based on position we have a pair adjacent angles. So here actually it is not a pair, but let me introduce you one more, angles at a point. Suppose here is a point, we have some rays started from it. So angles formed one, suppose this is 1 and this is 2 and this is 3 and this is 4 and this is 5. So these are angles around a point or angles at a point. So all these angles, if we add all these angles, angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle 3 plus angle 5, up to 5 we have here, is equal to 360 degrees. So angles around a point sum up to 360 degrees always. Any number of angles, you can have any number of angles like this. Suppose I have so many angles here around a point. If you add all these angles, you will get 360 degrees. That's what angles at a point. Okay, right. Let me introduce you the last pair for our session in this pairs of angles class. So that is, see here, suppose two rays, a ray PQ is a line, in fact, not ray, a line PQ and a line RS are, what are these lines? These lines are intersecting lines. Yes, we have learnt about intersecting lines, parallel lines, etc., etc. So here two lines are intersecting, and we can see that four angles are formed here. Right? Suppose this is A and this is B and this is C and this is D. What I want to tell you is here A and C, observe A and C, don't focus on the other angles. Here four angles formed, A and C. These are known as vertically opposite angles. What are these? Vertically opposite angles, or sometimes they call vertical angles also. Sometimes vertical angles also they use, whatever the word. So what is vertically? A and C are vertically opposite angles. A and C here. Feel A and C as their measures. Also here B and D, one more pair. So these are the vertically opposite angles. Suppose this is O, intersecting point is O, then angle POS and angle ROQ, one pair of vertically opposite angles. In the same way, you can tell angle POR and angle QOS, another pair of vertically opposite angles. So these are the vertically opposite angles. In the latter stages, you realize that vertically opposite angles are always equal. So suppose this is 80 degrees, this will be 80 degrees, right? So vertically opposite angles are always equal. That's an important property, and you have an activity in page number 79 of your maths textbook, page number 79, based on this property. You can finish it. I'll send you. So this is the topic about pairs of angles. You have seen supplementary angles, complementary angles, conjugate angles, in fact adjacent angles, linear pair, vertically opposite angles, angles around a point. All these are very important and very important for your future mathematics also. Okay, hope you learned all things well. Keep practicing. I'll send you the questions. I'll keep you tests. So get ready and face them and keep learning.